Everybody out there, all my MDK gang members out there, go check out Cole TV. I checked it out myself. That shit's dope as hell.
Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back into another episode of Pro Wrestling 60, where we cover everything that happened in the world of professional wrestling this past week. I'm XLJ, the OG, joined by my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, hailing from Stone Mountain, Georgia this week. Okay, Mr. B-Roll.
How we doing out there, world?
Doing pretty awesome, man. What a week it was in the world of professional wrestling. I feel like we say that every week, man, but my gosh, this week was action-packed, was it not, Mr. B-Roll?
Because we literally do say it every week. And we're like kind of talking, we're like, man, we think we're going to have like a little bit of a light week. Not really like any major pay-per-views or anything this weekend, Nope. The world of professional wrestling never stops. That's why we are here at PW60 to catch y'all up in 60 minutes or less, or ish.
Oh, we're going over tonight. I'm calling it now because we got a lot to talk about. But as always, Mr. B-Roll, I let you do your thing, my friend.
See, I have the power. Right here is the power in my hand. And when I say these magic words,
this is when the timer actually starts. Pay no attention that we're already like 3 or 4 minutes into, but whatever.
Okay, here they are. The clock starts now.
Yes. And our top story for this week is what a week it was for television professional wrestling this week. Holy crap. Between the Tuesday Night Wars, the Friday Night SmackDown premiere, and of course Monday Night Raw Collision and Rampage in between. This was a loaded week of pro wrestling. And hey, who's the biggest winners at the end of the day, Mr. B-Roll?
The fans.
You damn skippy hippie. Well, let's get right into it. Now let's talk about, first up, Friday Night SmackDown season premiere. B-Roll, I got to tell you, this is probably one of the best premieres of a SmackDown or any wrestling show I've seen in a long time. This felt right. It felt natural. There was goosebump-inducing moments on Friday Night SmackDown, was there not?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the better SmackDowns of the year, and is that not what it's all about though? Like those goose bump, itching, edge of your seat type of what's going to happen, what's going to be, are we going to finish the story? Hint, hint, wink, wink.
A lot of teases, a lot of drops, and some new storylines developing. But first up, yes, our tribal chief has returned after about a 2-month hiatus. Yes, Roman Reigns was on Friday Night SmackDown. The Bloodline was in full effect. But you talk about goosebump moments. Let's talk about the first one of the night for me. LA Knight coming out. Oh, yeah. Oh, you can see him. I'm just like so happy like that, him finally being in this spot. We've talked about it forever. And when that moment happened, when he came out, man, it was so good. Like going toe to toe verbally with Roman. I loved every minute of it. Mr. B-Roll, I got to ask your thoughts on LA Knight confronting Roman Reigns. What'd you think?
All I can say is, let me talk to you. Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. It was everything you could want in a bag of chips.
No doubt about it, brother. Also, we got to talk about too there at the. Are we getting LA Knight and Roman at the next pay-per-view or premium live event? What is this one? Crown Jewel? I just always refer to them as Dirty Saudi Money shows. I forget.
Next one would be Crown Jewel.
Okay, Dirty Saudi Money, Crown Jewel. That's right.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Are we getting that at Crown Jewel? Are we getting Roman and LA Knight?
It's either there or Survivor Series, right? So
I think it happens Crown Jewel. You
I
got
do
to
too.
remember
I do
too, the
too.
last time they were over there. Remember the reaction that LA Knight got? He wasn't even freaking booked.
That's
you
true.
know? So
They were like chanting his name at the presser, weren't they?
They sure were. They
That's
sure
right.
were. Yeah.
There you go. Full circle moment.
Yeah. So I feel like that is going to happen, my friend. But it's obviously going to happen sooner than later. You can definitely tell. But it's exciting to see LA Knight get a big push that he rightfully deserves. But this moment, oh my goodness gracious, this moment. We've been waiting for this for a long time. That confrontation. I loved how they timed this really well too. It was so perfectly done with Cody and Jay finishing up their match, retaining their titles. Bloodline comes out. This is definitely the moment for me, but we cannot not talk about Jey Uso. I loved his reaction because it was like he was, Jay's in this healthy, good spot right now, right? He is like on Monday Night Raw. He's with Cody. They're tag champions. And it's just like when that bloodline music hit, it was like he had seen a ghost or something,
Yeah.
just like reminded of all the past, negativity
Yeah.
and the torture and whatnot of being through the bloodline. I
You
love
know,
that. And there was a stare down too with him and Jimmy too as well.
yeah. He no longer was like, yeet, yeet.
Yeah. That was just like, okay.
But man, and I just the stare down to this. I just
The stare down between Cody and Roman. God
and then
dang, was
with
it good.
Nick Aldis being there and like the history that Nick Aldis has with Cody, and it's just like,
Yes.
oh,
Yes. And that perfectly segues. Let's talk about that. Nick Aldis has made his WWE debut. He is now signed with the WWE. Well, we knew he was signed, but now he's officially on screen as the general manager of SmackDown. So we are now, for the first time, really have a definitive general manager role for both Raw and SmackDown. As Adam Pearce is now the GM for Raw, which we haven't had that in a while on screen. I don't know, Mr. B-roll. You know my thoughts on this. I mean, Nick Aldis is a phenomenal in-ring performer. I hope this is just like him kind of getting into the WWE and establishing himself. Here's what down the line. This is what my hope of hope is. Right, Nick Aldis has like a program at WrestleMania, because he's tired of taking some of the guys' shit on SmackDown. I'll give you a perfect example who you put him against. You either put him against Grayson Waller or Austin Theory at WrestleMania. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it 4 or 5 months in advance. Damn it, it's gonna happen. But great to see Nick on TV nonetheless.
Nick Aldis in a handicap match against both of them. That'd be beautiful.
Ooh,
He
be a
just
tough one,
he just whoops some tail.
I'm here for it. But great to see Nick Aldis on Friday nights. And also, we did finally find out 1 month later who was traded for Jey Uso. It was one Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens is back on Friday nights. I don't know how I feel about this. It's nothing against KO. I just feel like, okay, KO's already been on SmackDown, done what he needs to do. He was on Raw, pretty much done what I guess he needed to do. Now he's not with Sammy. I don't know. What do you think of KO on Friday nights? You think this is a good move?
I just don't know. It don't make a whole lot of sense. The whole thing don't make a whole lot of sense because it was like 1 month later, but
Yeah, it was just very confusing how they didn't they waited so long. I don't know. It was just weird. I almost forgot about it. It was like, oh yeah. I don't know. I love KO. Anywhere he goes, he's going to be a success. I honestly think personally he would probably thrive better as a heel than a babyface. I think that's when he does his best work, as great as he is as a babyface. But I don't know. Time will tell. We'll have to see what happens on Friday night with one Kevin Owens. But man, oh man, what a show it was. But also this Huh? Huh?
Ah.
The stare down backstage with Jade and Charlotte. Holy guacamole, Batman. I know a lot of people talking. They want to see Jade in all these dream matchups, and this is one of them right up there. I know we've already talked about WrestleMania once already, but are we getting this? Are we getting Jade and Charlotte WrestleMania, you think? Could it happen, B-roll? Should it happen?
I don't know, but man, they are rolling her out like the red carpet. She shows up on NXT. She shows up on SmackDown. She shows up
It's
at
everywhere.
Fastlane. Like
Hey,
they're
man.
like trying to keep it a mystery, like where she's gonna land.
When you're top tier talent like that, though, and I love what they're doing with that too, and I love these little subtle teases and stuff. But I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see where Jade ends up. But this was pretty cool that they had this moment on Friday night as well. But like I say, all those moments was great. But SmackDown as a whole, the show was great. Pretty Deadly returned. I was so happy to
Pretty
see
Deadly's
those.
back.
Yes.
Yes, boy.
Going up against the Brawling Brutes. You had Bailey in action against Selena Vega. Also, Cody. We mentioned Cody and Jay. They defended their tag titles against Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, and of course,
That's not their name.
what is it again? It's
A Town Down Under.
Sorry.
And I'm gonna be a bit of a marky mark here. You ready for this? I'm
Sure.
gonna pick out a flaw of this SmackDown.
Okay.
Why the hell was Dominic Mysterio on SmackDown?
Because he's Dirty Dom and he goes where he wants.
Because they made it a point to say, okay, well, they had the tag team titles, so they're allowed to be here. Well, Judgment Day doesn't have the tag team titles anymore. Dom's still showing up.
He's got the North American title. Because of that, he can go wherever the hell he wants, B-roll.
As long as it's in North America, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So.
Okay.
But all in all,
sense,
and
I guess.
also too in the main event, LA Knight going up against Solo Sikoa, dude. Friday night was loaded. I mean, it was a loaded show because and hey, like we said, it was a loaded week. But the fact that this is the first show we're highlighting just shows you how strong this SmackDown premiere was. And oh yeah, too, by the way, John Cena was on in the beginning as well. Forgot to mention that. That's how good of a damn show Friday Night SmackDown was. So
And I'm
loved
just
it.
saying
Loved everything.
that like Cody Cutter 1D
It's pretty
move
dope.
they're doing, it's pretty sick nasty.
It is pretty dope. I'll give you that. So, well, we knew going into it, it was going to be a huge night on Tuesday nights. The Tuesday Night Wars did happen with NXT going up against Dynamite from AEW. Let's talk about NXT first. How appropriate was it? You know, it was so well planned and thought out. Like, okay, we're going to open the show with Cody making the announcement. You knew they were going to do that shit on purpose. Like, I was not shocked in the least bit. And of course, we kind of all thought that this was going to announce the Dusty Rhodes Classic is going to be returning. Also, Cody was playing the GM for the night on NXT. But it was cool. The moment I take away from the most about this with Cody is just the fact that he was there in really this house that his dad built, essentially. That's got his blueprint all over the Performance Center.
And man, if you follow the WWE on these socials, they posted a picture and they caught him like going down that stairwell of the Performance Center that has all the pictures, right? And the very last one is Dusty.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool moment. I gotta agree. Absolutely, my friend. We also got to see the greatest NXT Women's Champion of all time return home for one night as Asuka was in action going up against Roxanne Perez in an explosive matchup. Of course, Asuka picking up the win here. What'd you think of this matchup? Like, was this a future WWE Women's Championship match, I think?
I mean, I knew it would be good, but it over delivered for me a little bit. It was a little bit better than what I expected it to be. They had like better chemistry than what I thought they would. I enjoyed this.
I agree. I thought it was a great opener too. Like, great opening 2 segments to kick off NXT. Also, man, how about the Donnybrook street fight between Gallus and the Brawling Brutes? I remember the first time we saw this was at Extreme Rules with Imperium going up against the Brawling Brutes. So it was great to see this matchup. It looks like we lost B-roll for a minute, but we'll get him back in here momentarily. Also on NXT, we got a NXT Championship match, kind of last minute, little surprise, as Ilya Dragunov would defend against Dirty Dom and would retain his NXT Championship. It was a fun little matchup, I thought. Anytime you get to see both these guys compete, and oh yeah, also too, LA Knight was the special guest referee for this matchup too, because as our good friend CDC says, reasons. And then also on NXT, the red carpet was rolled out for John Cena and Paul Heyman as John Cena was in the corner of Carmelo Hayes. Had a nice little interesting confrontation there with Braun Breaker. And there you see Braun all tanned up and jacked and looking beautiful with one Paul Heyman. And as B-Roll alluded to earlier, Jade Wood made an appearance on NXT this past Tuesday night, and I love how they're doing that, just teasing like, okay, we're not sure where exactly she's going, but it was pretty cool moments nonetheless. In your main event, you had Carmelo Hayes going up against Braun Breaker, which I think this is like they really are kind of building these two guys as like that kind of that next generation rivalry, and I love it. Like anytime these guys get in the ring, it is money. So phenomenal matchup, phenomenal main event. But of course, everybody was talking about what happened after the main event. That's right. The American badass himself, The Undertaker, showing up and confronting Braun Breaker and putting Braun in his place, if you will. But exciting show overall. This may be a hot take, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I thought the show was great, but I honestly enjoyed the week's show beforehand. Um, and I say that based off of just like, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. They called in, they went nuclear, right? They called in every big name they possibly could get. Oh, B-Roll's back with us. There we go.
Speaking of going nuclear,
they called in every big name they possibly could get for this show, and it worked, man. It was great. It was a fun show. But like I say, me personally, I kind of enjoyed the week's show prior just because I felt like more progressed as far as stories going on in NXT. Whereas this one was kind of like just like, okay, we've got this big name and this big name. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean to be complaining by any means. I think it was a great show, but I just think in comparison to the weeks prior, it wasn't quite as good. But obviously,
I mean, they called out the freaking Undertaker.
yeah, I was like, okay, we gotta get the dead man in here. But once again, like I say, NXT was a solid show as we all knew it would be. But I got two big takeaways, and this right here, this is my biggest takeaway. I absolutely adore what they are doing with Brian Pillman Jr. Of course, obviously, he's not going to be Brian Pillman Jr., which is cool, I think. But just the way he kind of laid it out, just like, like y'all knew my dad come up to me and say how proud you are he would be, but I only knew my dad for like a short period of time and like barely enough to know like really who the man truly was and stuff, and just like how he's taking on a different persona. So it's pretty cool. I'm really excited to see what they do with him in NXT. How excited are you about to see what happens with Brian Pillman Jr.?
Yeah, I mean, I think by the time he debuts, I feel like he's already going to be like main event pitcher. The way they're just building it.
Yeah. 110% agree. But there is one more thing I want to talk about from NXT, and that's this moment. Paul Heyman and Ava Raine talking backstage, and him showing and pointing out Bloodline on his phone. We talked about that Cody confrontation, B-Roll. I think this is going to be the story going into Mania next year is like, okay, are we going to get to finish the story, or are we getting Rock against Roman? And it's like these subtle teases here and there. I'll just say this, just like that. I think it was an NSYNC song, or maybe it's Backstreet Boys. I don't know. Quit playing games with my heart, WWE. I'm just saying. Like, I
Well,
need to finish the story. As great as
Yeah.
Rock and Roman would be interesting to see, I'm more invested in seeing Cody against Roman. There, I said it.
I have a different take, and as you know
Oh, okay.
me, I pay attention to the details. If you do remember, one Mr. Joe Gacy told her to find a different family.
Well, yeah,
Okay?
I get that, and I mean, her
Okay,
family's
okay,
the bloodline.
but listen here, listen here. The way the video plays out, it seems like Paul. You get the impression that Paul approached her. I think she approached him about joining the bloodline. And I
Oh,
think
but
he's
do
telling
you,
I
do
think
you
he's telling her no, 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 no. One does not just simply join the bloodline.
Interesting. But do you think, though, this would upset The Rock?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But like we say, NXT was a solid show. But let's talk about AEW Dynamite. And it's going to be a hot take. My opinion, I enjoyed this show a lot more than I did NXT, honestly. But hey, I love AEW, but I love all wrestling. And we're going to get to that point here in a little bit. But let's talk about the fallout from Dynamite this past Tuesday. And first off, Dynamite coming strong with the buy-in. Yes, they had a freaking pre-show match. Eddie Kingston, by the way, against Minoru Suzuki for the Ring of Honor and New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. Fucking yeah, this match was awesome. Like just like we knew, just them slapping the shit out of each other. And hey, surprise, surprise, they are our match of the week here on PW60.
I mean, anytime you get Murder Grandpa on TV,
it's great. It's good stuff. But especially against Eddie, man, I love this match. God, this was such a good matchup. But I love the end too, where they're like still smacking the shit out of each other out of respect. Ah, chef's kiss. But that's just like that's the pre-show, man. Like, damn, we got a loaded Dynamite. So first and foremost, how it kicks off with Christian Cage, how he like is talking about how he got Dynamite's like the first 30 minutes free and stuff. God, that was so damn good. Like, and we've talked about this, but like, I mean, in these past couple weeks especially, it is crazy to say this out loud, but Christian Cage is doing the absolute best work of his career by far, I think, which is insane to think because he's had such a good career. But dude, this is like next level, and I am here for it. I love every bit of Christian Cage on my television. Of course, we kicked it off with a classic with Swerve Strickland going up against Bryan Danielson in a #1 contendership for the TNT title. And of course, Bryan Danielson did end up picking the win in a very close fought bout. But just think about this.
Person won.
Yeah, I love Bryan, but I'm just saying, I agree. Swerve should have won this. But think about this, B-roll. These guys were fighting for #1 contendership to the TNT title. Like, think about where that TNT title was about 3 months ago. You really didn't give a shit. Like, nobody, like, it was just like, I don't know. It just was like the hot potato. Like,
yeah, it was playing hot potato between Wardlow, Samoa Joe, or Powerhouse Hobbs.
And look where it's at now. It's like I'm invested in it. It's definitely the one of the top titles. It's pretty cool to see like the TNT title get back to where it needs to be, and a lot of that you can thank to Christian Cage. I'm just saying. Also, how about this one? Powerhouse Hobbs going up against Chris Jericho, or should I say Powerhouse Hobbs whipping that ass? Dude, Hobbs dominated Chris Jericho. I mean, this was an ass whipping. This got uncomfortable at times, did it not?
Yeah. You gotta. Did Powerhouse Hobbs really break his back? I mean,
yeah, he
survey says quite possibly.
Survey says he beat Jericho's ass. That's what happened. Man, oh man. And also, we found out Jon Moxley was not cleared. So, Orange Cassidy getting the title match against Rey Fenix. And guess what, folks? Orange Cassidy won back his coveted. I always want, what do we call this one again? I always get the
International.
name. International. I always want to call it like the original title, but yes, the
All Atlantic was
not
the
All Atlantic, the International Championship. And hey, guess what? Because of that, Orange Cassidy is our Wrestler of the Week here on PW60. Also, how about this one? Jay White against Hangman Adam Page. God, this was a great matchup too, man. these guys always have great chemistry, but Jay White ended up picking up the win. Of course, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of tomfoolery from Prince Nana and the embassy, but nonetheless, Jay White is the victor. Now,
Which was
afterwards,
perfect because I was like, how are you going to make Hangman still look strong? But like Jay White needs to pick up the win.
there you go. There you answer. Yep, absolutely, dude. But we got to talk about what happened afterwards. A little bit of controversy. So MJF coming out to confront the Bullet Club Gold. Usual promo and whatnot, but then Juice Robinson, did he go too far? I gotta be honest. When I first saw it, like my first thought went to like, remember Juice used to use like a sack of quarters to knock people out. And that was kind of what I first thought. And then when I really got to thinking about a couple, like with MJF's reaction, I'm like, oh shit. With those stories and like obviously, I don't know. I hate seeing anytime you go like down that route and you play like the race card and just like any like type of I don't know. I don't think it's in good taste, honestly. I would have tried to probably avoid that. So I don't
Yeah.
think it was the best or the wisest decision to make. I hope we can kind of move past it, and I hope they don't really kind of like play off of that more.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
I
'Cause
hope not.
they didn't make reference to it on Collision at all. But
Yeah, I
I
think
mean, I guess like MJF was even like okay with it, like it cleared it, and
yeah,
I don't
but
know.
still,
But I mean, let's talk about their entrance though, because that was pretty epic with the trikes. That was pretty
oh yeah,
epic.
yeah. I was still trying to catch up. Was that like were they just trying to like parody like Baron Corbin at that NXT show a couple weeks ago or something? What the hell was that? I didn't understand that.
I don't know. I just thought it was amazing.
It was quite the sight to see, but you want to talk about amazing though. Now
Yes.
this is amazing. Tony Storm's latest cinematic masterpiece dropped this past week on Dynamite, and I gotta say this: I have never enjoyed a picture-in-picture more than this. Like this actually had me watching what was going on in the picture because I'll be honest, 90% of the time I'm not really paying attention to what's going on like in the picture-in-picture. But this definitely did. I hope this continues. I know she's supposed to have another premiere this week, but we talk about Christian Cage. Tony Storm's another one of those. She is absolutely doing the best work of her career right now, and it is so fucking good. Like yes, just take all my money now. And a little bit of a surprise here in this one, Mr. B-Roll. Hikaru Shida going up against Saraya, and guess what? Hikaru Shida is your new AEW Women's Champion. She is now a 3-time Women's Champion. Pretty shocked a little bit with this. What did you make of Shida winning her 3rd AEW Women's Championship?
Yeah, I was a little shocked. Not that she doesn't deserve it, but wasn't like this. This was only the 2nd title defense, right? I think.
Yeah, 2nd or 3rd. So, something like that. But yeah, I was surprised, like I say, to see her win the title. But I'm happy for her. I love me some Shida. So, obviously Saraya didn't get like a super long run. I feel like she won because it was in Wembley, and I almost kind of think too. And we kind of talked about this. Is like I think like. I mean, she can still go, obviously, but I think she has to be extremely careful in Ring does Saraya. So
Yeah.
maybe continue with that lighter schedule as long as she's healthy and happy. That's the most important thing. So, but holy Shida, Hikaru Shida is now a 3-time AEW Women's Champion, and in your main event, we got to see the in-ring debut, the AEW in-ring debut of one Adam Copeland as he went up against Luchasaurus in a fun main event matchup. Of course, Adam Copeland picking up the win. And I was kind of like, I love the ending of this too, with like the chaos and stuff, But man, oh man, Dynamite was a loaded show, as was NXT. They went over too because it was obviously like they had so much to cram in. And spoiler alert, we're gonna go over on this show tonight too, but it's okay. The network says we're good for it, so
The network says we're good.
we're good for it.
Oh,
So.
oh man.
But let's talk about it. This Tuesday Night War. Now, people, wrestling fans, the only type of damn fans who like focus on ratings. Ratings don't mean shit anymore. I'm sorry, but um, technically NXT, what was NXT had like 900 or some thousand views, whereas Dynamite had 750 or something like that. So I guess if you're looking in regards to that, yes, NXT did have the more views, but let me just say this. Actually, instead of me saying this, like our good close friend, the light skinned guy, put out a TikTok this week, and he sums it up perfectly. So why don't you check this out?
So let's talk about the so-called Tuesday Night Wars, and man, I'm so sick and tired of that phrase. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you know, AEW Dynamite had to move its show to Tuesday night due to playoff baseball, which meant that AEW would be counter-programming against WWE's NXT once again. But as we all saw in the ratings, NXT definitely overshadowed AEW Dynamite. Which, hey, good for them. But honestly, do you want to know what this picture actually tells me? And before somebody in the comments types that WWE spanked that All Elite ass, I'm going to politely tell you to sit your happy ass down. What this picture tells me is that over 1 million people watch professional wrestling on Tuesday night. Shout out to my homegirl Shayna, who actually pointed it out on Facebook as well as on this platform and various others. Now, you may be saying, oh, well, you're just at AEW Mark. To which I am going to tell you once again very politely, sit your happy ass down and actually scroll through my content and tell me, when do I ever favor a specific promotion other than the one that I mainly talk about on this platform? I'll give you a hint. The one promotion I talk about the most isn't WWE, and it damn sure ain't AEW. Over 1 million people watch professional wrestling on Tuesday night. That's saying something right there. I think what the biggest problem is, though, is that people just want to be a part of a winning side so badly that it becomes this big old childish argument of saying, haha, my team is better than your team. But in reality, ladies and gentlemen, we all love the exact same thing. We all love professional wrestling. It doesn't matter how it's presented to us, whether it's presented in the WWE style, whether it's presented in the AEW style, or whether it's presented in the various other styles of various different promotions around the world. We are all entertained by very different things. However, it still falls under the exact same umbrella. It's kind of like religion when you think about it. All the different denominations and different type of religions, they all pretty much believe the same thing. It's the subtle differences that make them different from one another. And it really makes you think that at the end of the day, why the hell are we arguing when we're getting our enjoyment and our fulfillment from something so similar? Because once again, I like WWE. I also like AEW. But I don't just single myself to watching those two promotions. The tribalism in pro wrestling has to stop. Because if we end up going back to the days of one promotion just dominating and monopolizing the entire business of professional wrestling, we fall back into that same pattern we did back when WCW went the way of the dinosaurs and before AEW was a thing. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, just because you prefer something that I generally don't tend to prefer but still like anyway, doesn't make you better than me. Because you and I are the same. We're all professional wrestling fans. And at the end of the day, pro wrestling matters to me. I know it matters to you. Because pro wrestling is for everyone. And pro wrestling is my religion. So, stop with all the tribalism. Stop with all the elitism. Sit your happy ass down and enjoy pro wrestling.
Preach, brother. Amen. Yes. Like, for real. Like,
Still waiting for him to put that on a shirt.
Oh, yeah. Set your happy ass down. I was talking to him the other day. I was like, dude, that needs to be a shirt. It's going to happen at some point. But anyways, huge shout out and thank you to the Light Skin Gaijin, who you'll be seeing later here in the show as well. But once again, to put a bow on all of this, like, seriously, this is like one of the this boom period right now. It's one of the best times in wrestling. It's like, I even have, it's good when like you have just complete people who are like unrelated to the product. They know like there's something going on in wrestling right now that's magical. And I'll just leave it at that. Just enjoy wrestling, folks. So, and that includes you, Papa Khan. I love you, buddy, but damn, Tony Khan going off his rocker this week on Twitter or X, like, man, there was some shit in there, like, love him, hate him, or whatever. You're just like, Tony, don't. Put the damn phone down. Sit your ass down and put that damn phone down. I mean, it just, the stuff with like the stuff back at like Shawn Michaels and Hunter. What did it like? It was a painted door that said like old ass or something like that on it, or I don't know. And then the really one that was over the top was like the rating number talking about the Undertaker and Cena. It's like, oh, Tony, why are you doing this? What'd you make of these tweets?
Oh, hopefully he was drunk.
Yeah, or something was going on. But nonetheless, but here's the thing. Thank God, like, not all of his tweets got out there to the general public. However, we do report here on PW60 about all the happenings in the world of pro wrestling. And our good, close, personal friend, the best gout machine, was able to find and procure some of these tweets. So check this out.
Tony Khan has lost his damn mind after losing NXT during the Tuesday Night War. Took shots against John Cena and The Undertaker, and pointing out it was the first time they'd been on a show that had under 1 million viewers. And then later on the day, he started going even crazy. He later tweeted, Randy Orton pours milk before his cereal. I don't believe it, because that's crazy. Triple H wears a onesie? Sure, NXT won, but at least I never made See No Evil. Of all the WCW pay-per-views WWE could have brought back, they never did Hog Wild. Can you imagine a full pay-per-view with me showing up like a badass on a Harley? Vroom vroom chicken head. Shania Twain! I can't really see the whole thing. When I was 15, my dad found my Playboys with Sable on them and restricted my candy allowance. I blame the WWE and I will get my revenge, chicken head. My life hasn't been the same since the McRib farewell tour. Guys, I just found out the McRib is coming back. We were so played, I can't wait to put it in my mouth and wash it down with a Grimace shake. I'm too famous to go on picnics anymore. John Cena has a poopy face, chicken head. And finally, Tony Khan finished the day off by saying, please watch PW60 every week on Cole TV, and also follow Best Scout Machine. He has six-pack abs and has nipples that can cut diamonds. Peace out, baby!
Oh, Best Scout, you've done it again. I love that man. I want him to have my babies. I'm just saying. You look a little confused there.
I'm really confused.
Okay. You all right? You good? Okay.
What was with the egg?
What are you talking about?
The egg.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like we'll talk about it after the show. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but yeah. Hey, let's talk here in the world of wrestling. How exciting is this? It looks like the Viper, Randy Orton, is returning soon to the WWE, so they have a return date in mind. Mr. B-Roll, it looks like we may be getting the Viper at Survivor Series. Do you think he actually his advertising comes back? Do you think he makes a surprise appearance in Chicago, or how do you think the Viper's going to return?
He will be announced as the 5th member of the War Games team, either on the Raw or the SmackDown before.
Okay, yeah.
Or announced at the pay-per-view. He'll be the 5th member, though. That's my prediction.
There you go. I like it, but I'm excited to see Randy Orton back in a WWE ring, and oh no, here we go again. Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing this guy in a WWE ring, though, does it, Mr. B-Roll? As it was reported this week that the WWE has turned down CM Punk. Are you surprised by this? Because I got to tell you, I'm not.
I'm
I think
not.
that's the smart thing. I'm sorry, but it's too soon and burnt too many bridges as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. Like I wish him well, but I feel like I don't know. We obviously don't know the man. Like we're only seeing this from afar. But I mean, there's something going on there. I think internally.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't
I-
speak. I don't know.
Here's
It's
what I would say. CM Punk, Phil, if you're listening out there in the
You
world,
know he is.
here's what I want you to do. Are you a fan of the Marvel movies?
Yeah, of
Well,
course.
what I want you to
Has to be.
do is I want you to go off like Thanos, you know, sit down on your little porch and look at the grateful universe and just go away. Okay? That's what I want you to do.
Maybe he's just pissed because they haven't produced a good Fantastic Four movie yet. Because as we all know, it is clobbering time with Punk. I'm just saying. But nonetheless, it doesn't look like we're getting a CM Punk return to the WWE anytime soon. But remember, folks, in the world of pro wrestling, never say never. Well, we had some other shows this week too, as well. Once again, we always do this. I feel like Raw happened a lifetime ago, but we got to talk about this past Monday Night Raw, coming right off of the Fastlane pay-per-view. Of course, Seth Rollins kicking us off. Almost had Damian Priest catching in the Money in the Bank. Well, that's kind of interesting.
Until Drew McIntyre said, "Yeet."
Yep. Nope. And by the way, we are getting a Drew McIntyre Seth Rollins matchup at Crown Jewel for the World Heavyweight Championship, it looks like. Also, once again, for whatever reason, we got Ivar against Kofi Kingston. Can we just stop with the Viking Raiders New Day stuff? I'm sorry. I love both teams, but damn, come on, man. Come on, man. I'm just saying. But also, you got to see Raquel Rodriguez was in action against Nia Jax. And how about that turning into like a Donnybrook of a brawl there with Shayna Baszler coming out? Of course, Mommy was out there. We're getting a Four Corners match or something somewhere down the line. I think that's pretty cool if we are, my friend. I'm just saying. Also, we got to see DIY officially like on screen, like cutting their promo. Becky Lynch and Tegan Knox had a hell of a matchup too on Monday night as well. And I guess a send off for KO as KO and Sammy challenged Cody and Jay for the tag titles. But overall, Monday Night Raw was a pretty solid show. But I mean, it was just such a loaded week of other wrestling shows. I'm just saying. Well, let's talk about Collision from Saturday night as we got a hell of a collision. Let's talk about that opening segment. Kind of a little controversy there, huh? As Adam Copeland opened the show, and then you ended up Christian came out with his guys, and then Bryan Danielson comes out. Then you get Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Well, let's talk about that moment with Ricky Starks and Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland kind of ripping into Ricky Starks, but damn almighty, did Ricky Starks have like a good comeback to it though? So showing like he ain't gonna back down, but more or less just calling him like a rip off of The Rock. A lot of people were upset about this. What do you think?
It played off a little bit uncomfortable for some reason.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was low hanging fruit almost. And it's like, come on, you went like, he's probably heard that a million times. You could call everybody a Rock ripoff, man, in the world of wrestling to a certain extent. Like, I mean, just with his style, his persona, his fashion sense, etc., etc. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't like too upset with it. I mean, I loved how Ricky came back. I liked how he held his own. That's the biggest takeaway I have from that opening segment. And I feel like there's going to be like a huge like 8-man tag or something next week or something with all the parties involved because FTR would come down as well. Now in the main event, Christian Cage just barely retained his TNT championship against one Bryan Danielson. How awesome was it to see Willie Mack on AEW TV going up against Samoa Joe for the TV title? I loved that, man. I thought that was cool as hell. And that TBS title match was very interesting too, with Chris Statlander going up against Sky Blue. What do you make of this new kind of Sky Blue story going on with her kind of tapping into her inner dark?
Yeah, like it's a little bit confusing. And like, why did like Willow come out and like not let Statlander
Yeah,
like
it's
help?
it's very, very interesting to say the least. But overall, Collision, great show. And how about Friday night on Rampage, where we got to see kind of that story continue with Sky Blue as she went up against Emi Sakura. Daniel Garcia, Daddy Magic, and Cool Hand Ange picking up a win against the Hardys and Brother Say. And your main event, you had the BCC go up against the Gates of Agony. Like I say, man, this week in wrestling on television was nuts. Well, nonetheless, it's come that time of the show. You look like you need a little spiciness in your life, my friends. Let's go to Spicy Guac with the spicy.
Spicy Guac here, asking, why does AEW have such a stacked women's division, but we get the same like 5 matches with the same 10 people, but yet Ring of Honor, same person, has banger matches, and you have people like Mercedes Martinez and Athena just holding it down over there. But yeah, you get a Dr. Britt Baker match, you get Hikaru Shida winning 3 times, for the title, you get all these important people, and then we still get a Sky Blue match. No offense to her, she's absolutely awesome, and she's growing, but like, why?
Boy, he ain't wrong, my friend. He ain't wrong at all. Well, also this week is all this craziness going on in wrestling on TV. We got to talk about Impact. We always talk about Impact. It is a show you cannot be sleeping on. And once again, Impact delivered with a hell of a show, kicking it off with the Rascals going up against Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. Courtney Rush in action against Tasha Steelz. And then the big moment, man. How about the former Vladimir Kozlov showing up in Impact Wrestling? And hey, that main event was pretty awesome too. 2 out of 3 falls with Kaz going up against Eddie Edwards. I love me some Impact. We say it every week, man. It's just they just keep getting better and better. And they got a lot of momentum, and how apropos as they are heading into the biggest pay-per-view of the year for Impact Wrestling. And it's coming up as Bound for Glory is this weekend in Chicago. And it is a loaded card, my friend. First of all, your main event, Alex Shelley defending that Impact World title against Josh Alexander. What about that Knockouts Championship matchup with Trinity defending against Mickie James? Chris Sabin defending the X Division title against Kenta. And then, oh yeah, by the way, we've got the tag titles up for grabs with the Rascals going against ABC. Oh, and the return of the Monsters Ball with PCO, Rhino, Steve Macklin, and Moose. And if that wasn't enough for you folks, we also got a Knockouts tag title with MK Ultra going up against Tasha Steelz and Deonna Purrazzo. I feel like there's one more match on this card. Oh yeah, Will Ospreay against Mike Bailey. Dude, this show is going to be sick. Like,
Yeah.
pay-per-view of the year, maybe? It's got potential. It's got potential. And also, I think this year's TNA Hall of Fame is definitely, or I'm sorry, Impact Hall of Fame is definitely one of the most deserving, as Don West, Mike Tenay, and Tracy Brooks all will be going into the Hall of Fame this year. Man, oh man. I am so pumped for Bound for Glory this weekend. It's going to be an amazing show. But Mr. B-Roll, there's so much that's going on in the world of pro wrestling, as we say here every week. But over in New Japan Pro Wrestling has been some interesting times. And of course, there's only one man we can turn to find out all the ins and outs of New Japan. Let's go to the CDC with the New Japan Report this week.
Greetings from Earth. It is I, the CDC 83 of TikTok, kinda, here with your New Japan quick report. This past week saw a couple things happen. Most recently, at the time of this recording, Royal Quest 3 has happened. However, they had no streaming option available for this that I could find, so I am purposely not going to talk about what happened at Royal Quest 3 in case that they finally do put it up and be available for people. So if you want spoilers, Twitter it up. The main focus of this video will be talking specifically about the Destruction event. Another weird streaming situation with this one. It was live in English commentary with video on demand for Japanese commentary to come at some point, and it's like almost a week later and it's still not up. No idea what that's about. But a fun little surprise about that, Kenji Muto will eventually be on Japanese commentary for this event. So that was cool. Also revealed for this event, the new member of Just Five Guys, burgers and fries, Yuya Uemura. In title matches, we did see that the War Dogs were able to hold on to the junior tag belts. We were also able to see that Tama Tonga took away and is now the new Never Openweight champion. We also saw the Strong Tag Championships defended. They were lost in your new champions, ELP and Hikuleo. Due to illness, Lio Rush was not able to compete in the three-way for the junior title. However, Yo had stepped up and the three-way still commenced with Hiromu defending his title against Yo and Speedball Mike Bailey. Easily match of the night. One nice little surprise at the end of the Junior Heavyweight Championship, Taiji Ishimori's back. And in your IWGP World Heavyweight title match, Sonata was able to win it and still retain, and was able to actually physically get his belt back from Evil. All right, now on a serious note, I do have a little bit of a gripe here. It's been reported that Dave Meltzer gave this match 1.5 stars. Bullshit. This match was fun. It was great. I know that there's a lot of people that don't like House of Torture and the House of Torture antics, but here's the thing. It's the only bit from New Japan that actually tells old school story stuff, really, with freaking heels doing heel stuff and the faces dealing with that in good spirit. And it was actually a fantastic match. There was lots of great little things in it. It had lots of action. It had lots of drama. 1.5 stars is bullshit. Plain and simple. That is just Dave Meltzer not liking Evil and House of Torture or not liking Sonata and Just Five Guys. And I can understand that, but 1.5 stars, bullshit. Especially because that happened. That's 3.5 star picture alone. The next night, after the culmination of this, they did have the first press conference for Wrestle Kingdom. A little bit clunky. It seemed like nobody had an idea of what kind of questions to ask, but one of the weird things was during the time of the interview, they did not make it clear that this was going to be the main event, and both Sonata and Naito were kind of questioning it back and forth, which prompted eventually for the guy running the event basically to jump in and say, to make a correction and clarify that it is the main event for Wrestle Kingdom, as it should be. But it was kind of weird that they just didn't clearly state that to begin with. So, I don't know. Maybe they're afraid of those 1.5 stars, which is still bullshit. Anyways, that's your weekend report of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So long from Earth.
There you have it. And thank you, CDC. And he almost convinced me to kind of give House of Torture a watch, but I don't know. I can't stand those guys. But I see where he's coming from, and he makes a very valid point. But oh, baby, is this graphic sexy AF? Yes. Your Wrestle Kingdom 18 main event was announced as Sonata will defend his IWGP Heavyweight Championship against the G1 Climax 33 winner, Tetsu Naito. It's an interesting when you think about it, where Sonata's come from. Sonata has virtually went through every member of Los Ingobernables, his former stablemates, essentially. And here it is. the last boss is Naito at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm sorry, Sanada. Thanks for playing, but the Stardust Genius is winning that damn belt at the Tokyo Dome. I'm calling it now. I'm just saying. Well, hey, also going on with the sister company of New Japan Pro Wrestling is Stardom. And we got to go to our good friend, the Light Skin Gaijin, for a Stardom report. Check this out.
You can definitely tell that I just got out the shower and put a bunch of grease in my hair. Wet hair don't kill. PW60 family, I'm going to try and review Nagoya Golden Fight from this past Monday in just a little under 3 minutes. So, to my PW60 fellas, start a timer. So the night kicked off with a 6-person match that involved Ami Sourei, Hanan, Lady C, Yuna Mizumori, Miyu Amasaki, and Ruaka. And the night would culminate when Ami Sourei hit a Blue Thunder Bomb on Ruaka for the win. Next up, Mei Seira would challenge Saki Kashima for the High Speed Championship in what was a fun and entertaining match. Please do not blink when you rewatch this match. In the end, Saki Kashima would go for the Kishkai Sei, however, it was countered by Mei Seira into a flash pin of her own, making her the brand new and 24th High Speed Champion. Next up was the UWF Rules match between Mina Shirakawa and Shuri walked out victorious after knocking out Mina Shirakawa. At the end of this match, a video package was playing on the big screen while Mina Shirakawa was collecting herself in the ring. Across it was the words in Japanese that read Gokuaku Dome, which roughly translates to villainous faction. Also, Unagi Sayaka wa doku desu ka? Next up was the Artists of Stardom Championship match, and in this match, Maika and Suzu Suzuki just can't get along. Suzu inadvertently kicked Maika in the head, which allowed Julia to score a roll-up victory, and Maika went off on Suzu. Then just stormed out of the arena, Julia chased after her, and Tekla and Mai Sakurai just ended up celebrating because, whatever, they're the champions. Next up, Momo Watanabe would challenge Mirai for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. And in a match that would pit Momo's striking and technical skill against Mirai's speed and power, it would be Mirai who would hit a lariat to put away the Black Peach, retaining the Wonder of Stardom Championship. It also bid farewell to the Pirate Princess Kairi as she would team up with Nani Takahashi and Mayu Iwatani to take on the team of classmates Saya Ida, Koguma, and Hazuki. In the end, Kairi would hit 2 beautiful insane elbows on Koguma for the victory and had a very special message for her opponents, as well as the Stardom faithful and wrestling fans around the world, which, by the way, everybody needs to take this advice. And now it's time for the main event as Tam Nakano would defend the red belt against Natsuko Tora. Now, before this match, Natsuko Tora actually holds the advantage in singles competition, 2 wins to 1. It was in the debut of Tam Nakano in the 5-Star Grand Prix in 2017, where Tam actually defeated a young Natsuko. The following year, Natsuko would win in 2018, and recently this year, Natsuko would defeat Tam Nakano in block action. The intriguing thing about this match was the pre-match stare down. They weren't really pandering to the fan posing during the opening introductions, they just stood there, very stoic, looking at each other awaiting that opening bell. And once that opening bell rang, all hell broke loose. However, Tam would hit a beautiful spinning back kick and hit a violet screwdriver, which, if you could tell, her knees buckled underneath her and barely hit all of it. However, it put Natsuko down for the 1-2-3, retaining the red belt and claiming victory. She will now face Suzu Suzuki at Gold Rush on November 18th of this year. I guess you could say the whole Stardom world is believing in Tam. I'm pretty sure that was more than 3 minutes, but whatever. I'm not going to be perfect all the time. I'm never perfect all the time. Never. Anyway, thank you guys for checking this out here on PW60. Make sure you guys give a like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel at Light Skin Gaijin.
You're perfect to us, my friend. Trust me. And hey, time we're throwing out the window. Because remember, the network said we could go over, and we're going over tonight, baby. But it's all good. But there was so much going on this week in wrestling. That's our defense. Speaking of which, all this craziness. Oh, yeah, MLW Slaughterhouse took place this past Saturday at the old ECW arena. Dude, this show was freaking awesome. I loved the callbacks. I felt like there was so many different like elements from like Halloween Havoc's past. It kicked off with the Chamber of Horrors match, and yes, it was ridiculous and over the top. And they even had a chair to electrify their. Oh my god! Second Gear Crew going up against the Calling. Awesome, fun opener. I thought. Also, the spin the wheel, make the deal matchup that ended up being a Falls Count Anywhere matchup that did see Ricky Shane Page retain his championship. And then the dream matchup between Minoru Suzuki and Jacob Batu was awesome. And also a little bit of a surprise, too, as we do have a new MLW Women's Champion, Janai Kai, ended up making a surprise appearance as the MLW Phantom to win that championship. But the news everybody's talking about, that main event, Alex Kane defending him as MLW Heavyweight Championship against arguably the most decorated, one of the most decorated MLW champions, Tom Lawler, and ended up retaining the championship. No surprise there, but the surprise at the end, Matt Cardona showing up to call out Alex Kane, and not only doing that, the fact that Cardona literally was in Australia the day before, so a lot of people did not think that he would be showing up to challenge Alex Kane, but it looks like we're getting an Alex Kane and Matt Cardona matchup on down the line. What do you make of this matchup?
Oh, baby. Let him cook.
You know what? At the end of the day, Bomaye is for the people. And speaking of that, Mr. B-Roll, we got a pretty big announcement to make here on PW60. Or actually, we've already talked about it, but just to give you even more hype, check this out. Let's go, baby. That is right. Cole TV will be in Janesville, Wisconsin this Saturday for the JWA show, the Bomaye Birthday Bash, where the MLW Heavyweight Champion Alex Kane will be, and we're going to be there, and we're going to be hanging out with Alex Kane and so much. And hey, you could be hanging out with us too. So just come to Janesville Wrestling Alliance. Go to I believe JWA, is it JWA.com, and you can still get tickets for this awesome show. This is going to be a loaded show too, man. Like with all the stars of the JWA. We're so excited to be a part of this event and cannot wait to see you all there Saturday. So you got to come check us out at the Janesville Wrestling Alliance show because Cole TV is going on the road, baby. Yeah. Talk to me. You excited?
It's going to be worth the trip. So if you're in the area, be there, be square.
Damn Skippy Hippie. Hey, it's been a while since we talked about the NWA, but kind of some cool stuff going on in the NWA this week, which is weird to say out loud. But yeah, the first off, they're kind of returning to like a territory system, as they will be working with they're calling it the NWA Exodus Pro Midwest, and you can see some expansions here all throughout. But also, interestingly enough, for the NWA too, Billy Corgan announced that there is a TV deal in place for the NWA. Now, my understanding is they're still going to be doing stuff on YouTube, but that won't be their primary format anymore. You can still catch a lot of their stuff there, but they will be announcing soon that they do have a TV deal in place. And speaking of the NWA, I'm really excited about this. Big Strong Mems winning the NWA Television Championship this past week which we follow him on TikTok, man. Follow him on social media. He's a good dude. I know our good friends over at Botch Shots and Chair Spots. A shout out to them. Just had an interview with Big Strong Mims. But we here at PW60 and Cole TV want to wish Big Strong Mims a congratulations on winning that TV championship. And I'm sure it's the first of many, many, many major titles to come. But man, oh man, it was an awesome moment. And oh yeah, by the way, GCW had a huge week as well. Like, of course, they were in Japan for some banger shows. Like, can we say Gringo Loco going up against El Hijo del Faikino? Just saying. And then also Blood on the Hills 2 was a fun show. Our good buddy Best Scout was at that one. All I gotta say is there's a match between Santana Jackson and JTG.
Yes.
There is a moment. There is a moment, folks, that yes, you got to check out. But these shows was awesome. GCW is killing it as always, man. One of the top indie promotions. One of the top promotions in pro wrestling right now is Game Changer Wrestling. So, well, this was kind of a little interesting. Logan Paul called out Rey Mysterio Jr. It looks like for this is after his boxing match. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by the damn Prime thing. Like, I mean, what a joke, really. I'm sorry, but I'm really sick of this Prime stuff with you, Logan Paul. I mean, do better.
You're sitting there thinking like, where can I get me one of those?
Nonetheless, it looks like I guess I would assume Logan Paul is going to be going up against Rey Mysterio Jr. at Crown Jewel probably for the U.S. title.
Probably.
We'll have to wait and see. And speaking of the Paul brothers, looks like Jake Paul is going to be in a fight with a former WWE and MMA star, of course, Matt Riddle. Looks like they are working out some details to possibly have a matchup on down the road. Okay. I don't really give a shit. I'm going to be honest. I don't care.
This sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, no. That's going to be a hard pass for me. You're not going to get my money. But I tell you who would get my money. All the great independent wrestling promotions out there. But I just don't know which shows to go. But thank God we have got one Michael Duplessis, who's got the indie report for this week. So let's go to Michael.
What up, y'all? It's boy Michael with another independent wrestling event report. First, we have October 28th, Valor Pro Wrestling. Trunks, Treats, and Wicked Souls. 10184 Hesperia Road, Hesperia, California. 92345. Bell time is at 5 p.m. Secondly, we also have on October 28th, SWF Wrestling presents Halloween Wrath in Sassville, at the Sassville Volunteer Fire Station at 784 Miller Avenue, Jackson, New Jersey, at bell time at 7 p.m. And then lastly, we have Pride of Wrestling presents Checkmate, November 11th. Doors open at 4:45 at bell time at 5 p.m. That is at the Seminole Recreation Division in Seminole, Florida.
There you have it, Michael. Always finding the good shows. And hey, we also found out this week that Becky Lynch will be releasing an autobiography sometime next year. Becky Lynch, the man, not your average girl, which you'll be seeing here. I think it's going to come around Mania time or something, I believe. So, but nonetheless, I think that'll be an interesting read. I'll definitely check that out too. I find it fascinating with her career too, is how she almost got out of the business. She was doing a flight attendant with her mom and stuff as well. It's pretty cool. She's got a pretty fascinating story, so it'll be interesting to read and definitely something I would check out for sure. This, oh my God, Brent. Yes, I just broke character. I called you by your real name, but that's how excited I am for this. Seriously. seriously, this looks so fucking good. The Iron Claw I can't even talk. The Iron Claw trailer dropped earlier this week, and oh my god, this movie! I just I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because like I'm a wrestling fan, but I just got a feeling like this is going to be a serious awards contender film. Number one, I've always thought the Von Erich story was fascinating and could easily be done as a movie. So this is something I guess I've been waiting years to see. But man, just looking at Zac Efron here as like Kevin Von Erich, it's like damn. And then when I see, I'm sorry, I can't think of his name, but the guy who plays Lip as Kerry Von Erich, it's just like holy shit, like the Von Erich's coming to life on the big screen. But dude, I'm pumped for this movie. Are you pumped to see the Iron Claw?
Yes, we definitely got a bros date to see the Iron Claw, bro.
Yeah, we do. That's going to be an amazing movie. This is pretty exciting. Earlier this week, it was announced that Tony Schiavone would be the recipient of the 2024 Gordon Solie Award. And going into the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, I mean, dude, Tony Schiavone is one of the most iconic voices in all pro wrestling. I mean, you just like I love Tony. I can't say enough good things about Tony Schiavone. Like, I mean, he is definitely the voice of my childhood, along with several other guys. But Tony Schiavone's right up there. And we at PW60, we want to wish Mr. Tony Schiavone congratulations on winning the Gordon Solie Award. Now, Mr. B-Roll, it's that time of the show as we are getting down the wire. We're in overtime, pal. Let's go to Brian with Brian's random moment of the week.
Hello, it's me again. Not wearing the hat at the moment. You're seeing my not that great looking head. I got to see the barber. Maybe he'll get a free moment. The barber's me, by the way. And no, I didn't take up smoking. I smoked years ago, 20-something years ago, for a couple years. Quit back then, haven't smoked since. But no, it's sinus stuff, I promise. That's what's kind of got my voice going like this. So back again for another time. Brian's random moment of the week on PW60. I'm going to get to the faction thing in just a moment that I've been doing, but match recommendation, I thought about this one yesterday or over the weekend and watched a little bit of it on YouTube, and that of course being Brian Pillman and Jushin Thunder Liger from the first episode, the first match on the first episode of Monday Night Nitro in 1995. Also go back and watch their match in 1992. Very innovative and great stuff. So, continuing with factions, ultimate versions of them, and I want to look at one more faction in ECW, and that is the Dudley family. Now, of course, we know the Dudley boys, Bubba and Devon, as the main standouts as the tag team that, of course, were the best tag team in ECW history as far as winning the titles. In fact, one of the best in all of wrestling when all is said and done, of course. So, I want you to look at their entire faction. Give me your ultimate version of them. Let's say 4. Just pick 4. And give me all, excuse me, all together. So do you keep Bubba and Devon together as an obvious 2 together and build around them? Or what do you do? So let me know. Put a comment below on your ultimate version of the Dudley family in ECW. Let me know. Let us know. Inquiring minds want to know. Bye.
Oh, this is an easy one. Dances with Dudley, Dances with Dudley, Dances with Dudley, and Dances with Dudley. That's who I put in that faction. Just we love you, Brian. And we love our Wrestle Talk content creators. And this week, the Ruby Ringside Wrestling Content Creator of the Week is someone who is pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. We're talking about Sabrina Sells Wrestling. She has some really awesome takes, like great fandom. And she's got an amazing podcast on her YouTube channel called Hello Ladies, which you should definitely be subscribing and checking out. But man, oh man, like if you're not following her, what's wrong with you? You need to go give the Sabrina Sells Wrestling a follow because she's our Wrestle Talk, our Ruby Ringside Wrestle Talk content creator of the week. And it was announced that the former Sin Cara, a.k.a. Mystico, will be making his AEW in-ring debut on Rampage this upcoming Friday night. as he will go one-on-one with his bitter rival, one Rocky Romero, in Mexico's pound-for-pound crown. It should be interesting. And folks, like, don't revert back to the days of Sin Cara and WWE, because I mean that was just a different time frame, a different person, a different wrestler. Mystico's been killing it in Mexico, man. He's a hell of an athlete and a hell of a wrestler. So I'm excited to see this matchup, dude. I think it's gonna be great. It's gonna get me tuning in Friday night for sure. And finally, we've got an update a little bit on Survivor Series plans, and you kind of alluded to this earlier, but not too much of a shocker here. I think we're getting a little war games. Now, who's going to be in the war games? We don't know. We can kind of obviously figure out who it's going to be most likely. But you can say Judgment Day is definitely going to be involved. Maybe a little bit of Bloodline. I'm sure Cody and Jay and some other town in between there. But nonetheless, it looks like we're getting a War Games at Survivor Series this year, Mr. B-Roll. And, you know, I love me some War Games. Just saying. Oh, my gosh. We went into overtime tonight. Yes, folks, we broke a record as this is the longest PW60 we've ever done. But, hey, that's what happens when you have so much great wrestling action to cram in just a matter of 60 minutes. That's all right. Like I said, we got approval from the network, so we're good. But nonetheless, we want to thank you all for joining us here tonight in this special live edition of PW60. I'm XLJ the OG, joined by my partner in crime, Mr. B-Roll. And we'll see you next week for another episode of Pro Wrestling 60. Everybody have an awesome night.